Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin. If you could please take your seats. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Ocean City Tabernacle. My name is Tom Scherf. I'm the executive director here, and we are just excited to be able to host this event tonight, to be able to really serve the Ocean City community. Part of what we're all about at the Tabernacle is to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ, right, where Jesus Christ is central, through our summer series and so many other things, as well as to nurture the next generation. Our Sun Club is actually hosting an event right now in the Cole Youth Center, and we love to be able to engage and support what's happening with the next group of people coming into Ocean City. The other thing that's really important to us, though, is one of our core values is to serve. It's not just serving in the way in which we provide a facility or area, but it's also serving you as constituents and people here, and hosting events like this where we can actually have a civic conversation. We're excited that we can host this, but more than anything else, we're excited that this can be a place where you all can interact and be part of. But before we start, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask everyone to stand as we pledge the allegiance. So if you face the flag, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks so much. I now want to introduce the publisher and CEO of Affordability News Network, Terry Tracy.
Good evening and welcome. My name is Terry Tracy, CEO and publisher of Affordability News Network, which operates local news sites from Harrisburg to the Jersey Shore, including OCNJ Daily and Breaking AC. Thank you for joining us tonight for this mayoral debate in Ocean City. Thank you to Tom, Warren up there in the booth, making sure all the trains are running on time, the entire Tabernacle staff and board for their hospitality, partnership, and support. I also want to thank a few key Affordability staff members, in particular our moderators tonight, including Steve Ulrich, who is managing editor of Politics PA, Linda Cohen, who is managing editor of Breaking AC, and Donald Witowski, who is managing editor of OCNJDaily.com. We're here tonight for something straightforward, but increasingly essential. A direct conversation about who governs, how they govern, and whether they are worthy of the public's trust. Local government is where abstraction ends. It's where decisions about development, public safety, taxes, infrastructure, and quality of life stop being policy discussions and start becoming lived experience for residents and small businesses and families who have chosen to build their lives in this community. And yet, those are the decisions in our form of government that too often receive the least amount of scrutiny, particularly in the press. The questions go unasked, the trade-offs go unexplained, and the consequences are absorbed quietly by the very people who are most affected by them. That's the gap we are here to close tonight. At Affordability News Network, we believe local journalism is not a lifestyle product. It is civic infrastructure. Its purpose is not to flatter power, but to test it, not to narrate outcomes after the fact, but to bring clarity before decisions are made. Because self-government requires more than just elections. It requires informed citizens, accountable institutions, and a shared willingness to engage seriously with the direction of the community. And Ocean City is a special place. It's not simply a destination. It is a year-round community facing real and often competing pressures, balancing growth and preservation, managing the demands of tourism without compromising livability, maintaining public safety, and ensuring that the next generation has a path to remain here. Those are not easy challenges, and tonight is not about easy answers. It is about clarity of vision, seriousness of purpose, and the ability of each candidate to explain not just what they propose, but how they intend to lead. Our role this evening is simple: to provide a fair, structured forum where that can happen. Each candidate will have equal opportunity to speak. The questions will reflect the concerns and feedback that we've received directly from this community. And we ask that both the candidates and the audience engage in a manner that reflects the seriousness of the moment. Because the health of a community is measured in no small part by the quality of the conversations it is willing to have in public. And as Alexis de Tocqueville observed, a free people relies on a press that informs, challenges, and ultimately strengthens the habits of self-government. Tonight is one of those conversations. And in communities that endure, it is not consensus that sustains them, but a shared commitment to examine, to question, and to choose their own course with intention. With all of that in mind, let us begin. Steve?
Good evening and welcome to the Ocean City Mayoral Debate, brought to you by the Fideri News Network. My name is Steve Ulrich. I'm the managing editor of Politics PA and the host of the Voices of Reason podcast. Tonight I'm joined on stage by Donald Witkowski, the managing editor of OCNJDaily.com, and Linda Cohen, managing editor of BreakingAC.com. Before we go any further, if you haven't already silenced your mobile device, please do so. We all appreciate that. We also want to say thank you to all of you who submitted questions for tonight's debate. We have polled many of them for inclusion in the questions that we will be asking our candidates. Here are the rules governing tonight's debate. Each candidate will receive 60 to 75 seconds for an opening statement. Each candidate will have the opportunity to answer each question with a response no longer than 60 seconds. Should a candidate be called out by name during a response, he will be given 60 seconds to respond. Finally, each candidate will receive 60 to 75 seconds for a closing statement. With that in mind, now let's meet the candidates. First of all, Mayor Jay Gillian. Next, Second Ward Councilman Keith Hartzell. And third, City Council Vice President Pete Madden. We will begin with opening statements. And first, we will turn to Mayor Gillian.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to everyone here tonight and to the residents of Ocean City who care so deeply about our community. This election comes down to experience, and I've proven that I get things done. You'll hear a lot of ideas tonight, but leadership isn't about talk. It's about what you can actually accomplish. It's about having the experience to turn plans into results. It's about avoiding promises that sound good but don't work and don't deliver. Working together, we have protected and improved everything that makes our town special. That process doesn't happen by accident. It comes from steady leadership and a strong, experienced team that works every day to keep the city running. You might hear tonight that we need change, but every part of Ocean City has changed for the better under my administration. Our work is not done, and we will continue to change. With the support of City Council, my administration has accomplished all of this with no frill budgets, low taxes, and absolute fiscal responsibility. We've made a lot of progress working together. I'm asking for your vote so that we can keep moving forward. Thank you.
Councilman Hartzell.
Thank you sincerely for everybody coming. I greatly appreciate it. This is why I'm running, to set an agenda that meets the needs and the wants of our community, to see that agenda to its conclusion, ensuring that everyone, all residents, have been heard, acknowledged, and acted on in ways that protect our family-friendly values and neighborhoods. Our tradition and our rich culture and our history have made us one of the best places in the world to visit and to live, work, and worship. And it's because of those values that started as a Methodist retreat. A little partial to that. My campaign has been going door to door, 7 days a week. And in doing so, it's just not important to say you're a good listener. What is important is that you actually go out and listen, and that's what I've been able to do. When I first started to run, people said, well, what's your platform? I said, it's going to take a month or two, because my platform came from the public. Things that you told me, things that were important to you became my platform. I will be a strong leader that plans for the future and moves this city forward.
And Council Vice President Madden.
Thank you. If you were writing a job description for the next mayor of Ocean City, it would not begin with titles, it would begin with responsibility. Responsibility to protect what makes this town special, responsibility to make smart decisions about our future, and responsibility to put people ahead of politics every time. My name is Pete Madden. More than 20 years ago, I chose to build my life here. I built a business, raised my family, and invested in this community just like many of you. I'm running for mayor because our future demands leadership that takes responsibility, thinks long-term, and puts the community first. I believe in progress on the Boardwalk. It's the heartbeat of Ocean City. I believe in strengthening Asbury Avenue as a year-round economic engine, and I believe in an affordable city where seniors can remain in their homes with dignity. I spent my career preparing for this. On the Board of Education, I worked to strengthen our schools. For 12 years on City Council, I've delivered real oversight, working with the administration when it made sense and standing firm when it did not. But this election isn't about the past, it's about where Ocean City goes next. When things go right, leaders give credit. When things get tough, they take responsibility. That's the kind of mayor I'd be, and I'd be honored to earn your vote tonight. Thank you.
Welcome, gentlemen. The first question, if you're elected mayor, what will be the first thing you will do at the start of your term?
My first? Well, continue what we're doing. Right from the beginning, we'll look at the administration, we'll look at all our departments, make sure everything's running smoothly, but it's going to be continuing to make sure our beach replenishment goes forward. We have a lot of work to make sure that that gets done, or hopefully that'll get in the beginning of summertime, but really it's just getting ready for our summer season and making sure Ocean City's ready. Thank you.
Same question. The first order of business would be to work on 600 Boardwalk. 600 Boardwalk is something that has divided our town, and that's okay, because when a town's divided, we'll get together and compromise and find consensus. And that's what I've been working on when I go door to door, talking to people about what they would be looking for and what should go up there that matches our town, protects our neighborhoods, and makes us feel like Ocean City. And that's the most important thing to me, is to come together as a unit, as a group, to make something work up there for everyone, that everyone has a voice in it and everybody has a part of it, so that we all can be proud of it. And at the same time, other solutions and other things that we need to work on are parking. We have a lot of parking issues, and that's something we'll get into, I'm sure, a little bit later in this conversation. But those are my two mainstays that I would start to work on immediately.
So for me, it's all about the people. Whether it's in your personal life, it's in your business, or it's in the city. The people are your most important asset. So the first thing I would do is be able to sit down with the senior staff, the administration, and to go over who we have and make sure we have the right people in the right positions. So the first thing we do is to make sure that everybody's on the same page and we're starting to move forward together. And then start to meet with City Council is probably the closest next thing, is to make sure the council, the mayor, the administration, we're all on the same page. Because if we're not, things don't get done. And it's important to have everyone on the same page in order to make sure everything gets done for everybody here.
Gentlemen, Ocean City has been deeply divided in the past year over developer Eustace Meada's plans to build a luxury hotel on the Boardwalk in place of former Wonderland Pier, formerly owned by Mayor Gillian. What is your position on the hotel project and why?
Mine's compromise. And why I say that is because when I look at the Ocean City Boardwalk, and Pete mentioned it as well, Mr. Madden, how important that boardwalk is, and I believe that boardwalk has to continue as it is. And I see right now that 7th Street Surf Shop's going to open up 2 more stores up there because they believe in that as a destination. And I think that we can find other businesses that will be destination businesses. But at the same time, a luxury hotel would be a great idea. And I think that that's the important thing, is to put more of a boutique hotel in the back as a luxury hotel with many amenities. And oddly enough, Mr. Mita has 2 hotels in Avalon. They're 2 to 3 stories, and they're called boutique hotels. So I think it's something he's good at. I think it's something he'll do dynamite at, and I think we can get everything we need, which is a vibrant boardwalk and a great luxury hotel with all the amenities and everything you need to have a great vacation.
To be crystal clear, we need to build a hotel. We need to work with the person who owns the property to get the best solution for what the people of this town want. It's been sitting vacant too long, and we have a proven brand that's come into our community looking to invest a tremendous amount of capital. So we have to get together to see what's the best way to do that, negotiate that out. So we need to get to a redevelopment zone so that we have flexibility within the zoning, and then we can sit down with the property owner to get the best solution for Ocean City. But it's imperative that we move forward sooner than later to do that.
It's simple. This should have already been taken care of because there's already policies and procedures in place. And, again, it's the owner and the council need to get into a room and figure it out. And again, if they would have done that from the beginning, we would not be sitting here talking about this, and it wouldn't have divided the city so much. We have a passionate city, which is understandable, but that's why you have policies and procedures, and strong leadership would take care of that. So, thank you.
Gentlemen, City Council President Terry Crowley has formed a 9-member advisory subcommittee to study the zoning requirements and development options for the Boardwalk's commercial zone from 6th Street to 14th Street, including the former Wonderland Pier property at 6th Street. The subcommittee will in turn make its recommendations to City Council. Do you support this process for guiding the Boardwalk's zoning and development needs, or do you believe there's a better way for handling the Boardwalk's future?
So I think it's great to get citizens together in a committee to talk about and get ideas. But we need to get it back through the government process. We need to get it to the planning board, or the zoning board, and we need to go through the master plan to do that. It's going to be great to get some recommendations from the committee, but they're non-binding recommendations. So we take that, we listen, and that's what we use to negotiate with the property owner to get the best solution up there, and then follow the master plan for further, deeper discussion and investigation into the boardwalk zone to get the best solution there as well.
It's always good to have a committee and get our community's advice. And again, they're looking at the whole boardwalk. They're not just looking at 600 boardwalk. So again, all those things are good, but you could have a parallel path on getting things done. So, I hope everybody, when they come forward with their results, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot of good recommendations for the boardwalk, but it's going to take more than just one committee. The boardwalk has been I can tell you from that end of the boardwalk has changed. Our demographics, we have so many things that have changed in just a few weeks of trying to figure out with the boardwalk. We actually need to bring professionals in to look at the whole boardwalk and see what the future looks for it, because I got to tell you, it's tough. Small businesses in New Jersey now are just failing right and left. And, we have a small season, all the regulations, all the weekly, our wages. I tell you, it gets tougher and tougher. But to me, from our end of it is, the committee is great. I'm thankful that Mr. Crowley did that. But the council, all that, we still all need to step up and get this thing moving.
I support the subcommittee. I think it's a great idea. But at the same time, when you're the mayor, you're the CEO, you're the leader, and you're the one that takes charge. So if you look at the President of the United States or the president of any organization, they take charge, they set the agenda, and then they go sell that agenda. They take that back to the council and try to get the votes, and the council starts to negotiate with them. But everything should start at the top. That's why I'm looking forward to this so much, because I want to start at the top with this. I want to lead, and I want to get the information I need to make this work properly. And Ocean City's a great place, and I'm telling you, I'm so positive about this town and the ability to make money here. This town's been so good to me, and I really think the upside of our boardwalk and any area in the back is so strong that investment will come and people will be successful, because this is the place that makes success for sure. And I'm living proof.
It was a less than stellar summer tourism season for Ocean City in 2025. Beach tag sales were down, and so was parking revenue. The city's chief financial officer, Frank Donato, partly blamed the declines on rainy weather. He also explained that during the March 26th City Council meeting that a shift in tourism trends may be the reason for a decline in beach tag revenue. He explained that the typical vacation time used to be about a week in Ocean City, but now visitors are staying an average about 4 nights. What do you believe can be done to reverse any negative trends in the city's tourism market? Starting with the mayor.
I tell you, the season is getting smaller, and again, that's why I was talking about earlier. That's why you need to bring professionals in here to see what our future looks like, what our demographics are going to be. You have Airbnb, you think of all the different things that come to the guests now. I mean, you have phones. I mean, it's just, there's so many things out there that take you away from just doing the things that in the past, and you always have to look into the future. So, I mean, that's what we continue to do. We continue to bring people in and look towards the future. But, it's hard to sit when June was horrible last year. And again, I use that for an example. It's very difficult. And when you plan and you do what we do, we can handle those kind of things. But we are weather and a short season. We're year-round with schools and sports, so it gets more and more difficult. So you have to be more and more creative. And again, we have a great tourism and chamber, and our Boardwalk and our downtown merchants working together. So it's, I tell you, my grandfather always said, it's always about the weather. And sometimes you put too much into change when you think, it just should happen. But weather is a huge role in our economy here in Ocean City in the summertime.
I remember in the 90s I had to do a budget, and we had lost in the month of January about 10 days due to snow, so I figured out with those 10 days I'd be right on budget. But I knew at that instant if I said that, they'd say, how are you going to make it back up? That's where I come from, how are you going to make it back up? So when you have a bad June, but you have a lot, and you have a beach area that's not being utilized, you jump in and say, what could we do to bring people down there? That's how my brain works and my head works. So you have to take a chance. You have to put out an investment. You had a parking lot that was way off, empty a lot. You make some changes in the parking lot with, different type of parks. You put some activity in front of that parking lot to draw people in, because you have it made there. You have a parking lot underutilized, and then you have a bathroom right there. You got to be able to roll like that right away. So when you start seeing those numbers go down in June, you say, what can we do? What do we need to do to make this better? And that's the background I come from. That's the business background I come from. And that's what keeps me going and keeps me motivated, is find some other answers, find another way, make something happen. And that's my goal, is to do those types of things. When we see something faltering, get everybody together. The mayor just said we have great groups of people here. Get everybody together, what's going to actually work there, what can we do, and we'll invest some money to do it, because if you invest the money, then you're not losing all that tax revenue. Sometimes it's a good thing to invest money. Thank you.
So for tourism, you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. We have to continually adapt to the changing environment and our changing demographic of who comes down here. But that starts with listening to the people that are here in our community and listening to the people that are coming down. Forward thinking is the main thing that needs to come out of the mayor's office to the Tourism Commission to make sure that we're ahead of the curve versus behind the curve. The drone show that's going to be coming down this summer is a great example of something that's different, something that we haven't done before, and will hopefully bring people down over the summer.
We do forward thinking. I got to tell you, it's what's that? You're working, because we all work together. But even when Keith says all that kind of stuff, yeah, the parking lot was down, but then you also have to remember that parking lot is used by the community with all the sports and all that kind of stuff. So that's the difference between the mayor and the council and all that kind of stuff. We are working every day to change, and how can we take advantage of it? And again, we look at everything, but everything is used differently. And, we're going to continue to move forward. But we do change, and we constantly, between our senior staff and management, we look at everything. And when June's so early, you think a lot of times July and August are going to catch up, and then August sort of hit a little bump there too. But good summer. Thanks.
Local property taxes would go up for the fourth straight year under the city's proposed 2026 budget. Would each of you explain to taxpayers why their taxes are increasing again, and could you elaborate on any ideas you may have to prevent or minimize tax increases in the future? Starting with Councilman Hartzell.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, for the 2 years I wasn't here, but when I look at tax increases, a lot of recommendations were made by some of our council people going into the last budget, and I don't know if many of them actually been accomplished. So I think it's something, like Mr. Madden said, to get in and sit down with everybody and really start afresh. See who you have, see all the assets that you have, and then see where everything basically is. You don't want to lay anybody off, but can you put some jobs together? Do you have any retirements coming that make sense that you may not have to fill but do something else? So it's a constant moving ball the whole time, and that's the key to it. And all finances are like that. But I think the goal is always to get to zero, and that's what I'll be trying to do. And you just do that through hard work and teamwork. And I totally agree with getting in with your business administrator, all those folks, as well as your council, get together and make something happen.
All right. Everywhere we turn, costs increase. It doesn't matter where you go. And it's a tough thing that we have to work with. But we don't have an income problem, we have an expense problem. And the money that we spend, we have to be diligent where we spend it, how we spend it, and look to spend it the right way. We've done a tremendous amount of capital improvements that you can touch, feel, and see in town, and that costs money. And we're working with that on a good debt service that our CFO, Frank Donato, has done an unbelievable job maintaining that. But we have to continue to work with that. We have to continue to work with our rateable increase. If we have balanced development allows for a natural tax increase without putting the burden onto the tax rate each year. So to me, we have to work on our expenses. We have to continue to maintain that income, and we'll have a balanced budget.
Well, again, that's the difference. We've been doing this for a long time now. And to say tax increases, well, all our bills go up. And if you want to say ratables, and we can go use our ratables to get on our operating budget, that's irresponsible. You use the ratables correctly. And, if we hadn't used our ratables all these years and taken advantage of these low interest rates, that would have been criminal on our end of it. But at the end of the day is, again, every day when you think about the budget, that's the easy thing, tax cuts. Every day we do that when we make a decision. People want the services they get. Nobody wants them cut out. Everybody loves what we have here in Ocean City, and it costs money, but we have shown we've been responsible. So, it's easy to sit here and say what you can and can't do, and we worked with Councilman Winslow. He came up last year with a program, and we're doing most of it already. We have less full-time workers now. So we constantly look at the budget. I know I do. And I tell you, it's a lot tougher. And it's nice to sit here and say, yeah, I'm going to go zero budget. It would be irresponsible to go zero budgets because it might be good for 1 year, but you never know what's coming up, and you always have to be prepared. Thanks.
I think we can all agree that Ocean City is a highly desirable place to live. For many people, living at the shore is a lifelong dream. The latest figures from the online real estate company Zillow show the typical home values for Ocean City are now $1.1 million. $1 million home might be out of reach for most of the young families that would like to live here, becoming the next generation of homeowners and have their children attend Ocean City schools. What are your ideas for making Ocean City more affordable for young families? I'll start with Mr. Madden.
It's a tough question because supply and demand dictates what a house is going to cost or not cost. And the last thing we want to do is have our values go backwards. So I think what we have to look at is maintaining and the city working with the school so that the school is a desirable place for people to come. Because then you find grandparents, parents, and kids coming and going on a house together, whether it be a duplex, one lives upstairs, one lives downstairs. but they're coming here for the school, for the environment, and for the quality of life that their kids are going to have. So I think to make the island affordable, it's making sure our school is strong and it's a desirable place for people to come. That's my answer.
It's market driven. You know, it's your blue stock chip. It's an investment. And it's hard to say that. You know, years back when we first started, we tried to do coastal cottages, tried to do some places that, you know, were low, didn't cost a lot of money, but the market just took those prices right up, and that's difficult. Our school system, we have less kids now. I sit on the Shore Medical Center board. There's maternity wards closing because you're having less babies. You know, this is not an easy job. This takes, you know, a lot of experience and a lot of time. And I got to tell you, there's no magic pill to try to help. You know, you start looking at other cities and all that kind of stuff, but we have fire, police. I mean, you know, we do a lot of things here in Ocean City. And again, that's a nice feel-good kind of thing, is what can you do to people afford Ocean City? But as we were talking backstage and all that kind of stuff, you know, house goes for sale, you get 7 or 8 bidders. I mean, it's market-driven. So, you know, hopefully we're doing a great job, and we do everything we can. There's some yearly rentals, which get some of the people here to go to the school system. But, you know, that is an almost impossible question to answer in the way our economy works.
It's true, it is supply and demand, and man, this place, the demand's incredible, and as supply, backstage, Mr. Madden told us the supply is low. And a lot of times it is because of the desirability factor of coming here. But at the same time, when you move here, you do sacrifice. I know people have moved from a single family home to a flue or a duplex, gave up their yard. You give things up to move here. We all have. That's how tremendous this place is. So I look at it and say, from a family standpoint, if I had kids and grandkids, I'd be doing what Mr. Madden just said. I would buy something where I could house them as well and have an extended family rather than a nuclear family, because that's the way, that's the best gift. That's the best way to share. And then to leave that down, I mean, my niece is going to do quite nicely with a home here, because it's part of my mind that a piece of Hartselle is here through our family, and these are the things we have to do. And when kids graduate from school, I always tell them, buy a house as fast as you can, start a 401k as fast as you can, learn to save. Your dreams come true, and one day you may live here.
Gentlemen, parking is one of the main topics of discussion in Ocean City. What's your strategy to alleviate parking shortages, especially during the summer tourism season? And would you support the city's construction of a parking garage? Mayor, we start with you.
We've already been working on it. We've bought many pieces of property, added spots. We added a parking system on the Boardwalk. You know, it's one of those things that people get mad at me sometimes, and they say, oh, we have a parking problem. No, we have a convenience problem. Last July 4th, you couldn't even get into Ocean City, but you found a spot. Might not be in front of your house, but when you look around town and you look at all our neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff, we're a seasonal seashore resort. That's what happens in these seashore resorts. But to say that, you know, we have a parking problem, again, at the end of the day, you all found a spot, you always find a spot. It's just sometimes it's not as convenient. So to me, is we're going to continue to add parking lots and buy property and do what we can. And no, for the parking garage, $30 million, $40 million, you know, we all talk about our investments we have here in Ocean City. And we looked at it. One spot I thought, you know, we've talked about this before, is maybe in front of the high school, where you can get the teachers and you can get their kids and all that kind of stuff in a used carry field. But, you know, the parking problem, again, is, and you keep talking about that, and that's the worst thing for Ocean City and our tourism industry, because if you keep talking it, everyone's going to think there's a problem, and that's not good for business. And we're all talking about how important our economy is. So sometimes, you know, you just got to be careful what you say, but thank you.
A parking garage would be essential, and I've visited other communities where they use a public-private partnership to get there, and that will be my first order of business, is to figure out how to put a garage in here without a big expense. The number one issue will be the location, obviously. But when it comes to parking, there's a couple other things that we can do. We should have more off-street parking for these larger and larger homes that we are building, and the reason why we are is because the vacation is shortened. And they need more heads and beds so people can afford the shorter vacation and divide it amongst themselves. So my thing is, when you get to 4 bedrooms, you should have 4 off-street parking spots. And people say, well, how are you going to do that? I've seen the drawings. And plus, the other thing that will happen is people will say, you know what, I'll make the 4th bedroom a den. So they'll get there that way. So it's going to be really up to 5. But that's the essential way, is to create more off-street parking. Avalon did it. Avalon did it in 2014, and it's working great, because they did a study and found out that they were averaging 6.75 cars per unit, per home. So it's turned it around, and it's made it work better. We should always be looking for solutions. We should always be sure that it gets better and better for everyone.
How lucky are we that we have a parking problem? It's awesome that many people want to come down here. And I remember as a kid 30 years ago, riding my bike to Johnson's Popcorn to work because we didn't move the cars. We parked them, found a spot, kept it there, and rode our bikes. So this has been a parking problem for decades. I agree with Keith. Private-public partnerships is a way to fund a garage. It's a way to take the tax burden off the citizens and work with the private companies to create that garage. But as far as the changing of zoning, the practical application of that is people are going to still use the downstairs of any house for storage, for bikes, for beach chairs, and things within the house. And unfortunately, I don't think it works. Avalon has much bigger lots than Ocean City. Ocean City has smaller lots, so we're kind of fixed with what we have to work with. So I think we do the best we can to work with what we have and create a garage with a public-private partnership.
Well, it's fine to the parking garage. We've studied it. $25, $30, you can do the private partnerships with the city and all that kind of stuff. And again, it sounds good and it makes people feel good, but it doesn't work. So then what about all winter? You talk about kid problems. You know, I love kids. Where are they going to hang out? In these buildings. So to me is, for those few inconvenient days that you might have to park a block away or something like that, do you really want to spend $30 million? And again, the location, we look behind City Hall, it costs a ton of money. So if I can figure out how to fix a plumb or the pipes or flooding mitigation, all that kind of stuff, it's just that the parking thing, I tell you, and I understand what Mr. Hartzell was saying about housing and all that kind of stuff, but you cannot compare Avalon and Stone Harbor and all the rest of Ocean City. We're just all different animals.
So when it comes to the parking garage, I visited Rowan University, and it can be done to little, no tax dollars. So we should do that. We should investigate that. You know, it's funny in comparing with Avalon. Avalon, the lots are bigger. Guess what? They were having a problem. That's what you have to look at. They had to do something because they had bigger lots. Our lots are smaller. We really should be doing something, and we should follow their example. They made a change. They went to the state, and they got it done, and the problem has lessened. Just because it was a bigger lot didn't mean it wasn't a bad problem. It was, and they fixed it.
To me, where there's a will, there's a way. If there's a garage that we want to put up in Ocean City, and maybe it's to service the downtown, maybe it's to service the boardwalk. It has to be in the right place that everyone's able to utilize it. To me, you have something closer to the downtown. It helps the downtown year-round, and you can still walk to the boardwalk from the downtown, so it kind of helps everybody. And again, where there's a will, there's a way. We need to find grant money, public-private partnerships, find ways to do it, and we can also make a garage have mixed use. They could have multi-purpose. It could have commercial downstairs, some parking upstairs, and on the roof it could have a pickleball court. So there's always a way.
He's getting votes now.
I'm good.
Yeah, you are. You are.
Well, we're going to stick with parking a little bit longer. The city sets a maximum rate of $25 per day to park in municipal parking lots during the summer. Visitors have complained on social media that parking is too expensive. Do you think parking is too expensive, and would you support reducing the parking fees to make visits to Ocean City more affordable, starting with Councilman Hartzell?
Yes, that's a hard time. It all works by supply and demand, and we actually just don't have enough spots. If they fill up, it's by supply and demand. But I think we missed an opportunity was at the 5th Street lot because it was underutilized. So we missed that supply and demand part. So what I said is we should reduce the price till the lot's full. The other thing is we have a lot of other avenues that people can park on these other lots, and we didn't have them on that 5th Street lot. So to me, this is a constant moving ball, so to speak. And I think that was a perfect opportunity for us to kind of rectify that and get a more economy lot. I know when I go to park, I don't know what it is, I'll just spend the most amount of money, but my best friend, we're hiking, you know what I mean? So everybody has something that they're looking at. They either want the really economy lot, which that could service until we get it turned around and fill that thing up, as opposed to I'm in the most expensive lot going, hey, I'm here already. So there's something for everybody. You just have to place it together and look at the supply-demand situation of it and make it all match.
So I agree that you can't take a broad brush across every parking lot and price each parking lot the same. If you have a parking lot that's a little bit further away, it should be priced less, and we should lower that price. But we often have to be cognizant of the budget. When the budget's created, it's created with a certain amount of revenue in mind. And if we lower that price from where we have it right now, it affects where we are on the budget, which can potentially raise taxes. So we have to do it very systematically and very thoughtfully to make sure that it's the right move for the city.
Pete, that's a good answer. $25 is a rarity. We do it maybe around July 4th, we're usually at $20 or $15. So there's, that's that social media that doesn't have the facts all the time. But look, Pete's right. You have to balance. And when they talk about expense and all that kind of stuff, we talk about beach tags or whatever it is cost of a pizza costs about as much as a beach tag does all summer. So I mean, when you come into the park, what does that parking do? It keeps it clean. It's a user fee more or less, and it keeps our taxpayers, it takes a little burden off of them because they're not using it like some of our guests are. So again, it's something that I know our team looks at all the time, and we do look at adjusting prices at different lots and all that kind of stuff. But no, I think we've done a great job with that. So but the 25, it rarely happens.
Let's shift gears off of parking. Ocean City's marketing slogan is America's greatest family resort. That is the city's image. That's the way it distinguishes itself in the highly competitive seashore tourism industry. What are your ideas to maintain that image and even enhance it to keep the tourism flowing? I'll start with you, Mr. Madden.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to already have a mission as far as our business goes in Ocean City. We're America's greatest family resort. And we're the stewards of that. And it's our responsibility, especially as mayor, to keep that in the forefront of everybody's mind. The family resort requires hitting all levels of the family. Again, the grandparents, the parents, the kids, because that's who comes down here. So we need to have activities and we need to have events for all three of those demographics to make sure that all three are coming down here and continue to want to come down here. That's sitting and listening to those folks and then working with the Tourism Commission, working with the Department of Community Services to make sure that we have everything that folks need.
Sorry, let's listen to Pete. Every year we upgrade our special events. I mean, we have over 100 events. This year we're putting a drone show in. So every year we do that. I mean, we take care of our kids all the way to our grandparents. So between our rec programs and all the different things that our businesses do, I mean, I think we do a great job. But you got to keep looking to the future. Who are our demographics? You keep talking about the families, but it's not just families that come here. So, I mean, you have a lot of retired people, a lot of kids, all having a good time. So to me, you got to look at everybody. And again, it is working with tourism, our county tourism, our chamber of commerces. I mean, they work year round. I mean, we're already starting to figure out next year. So I think we do a great job with that. But believe me, we have a group of people that never slow down with that. We're always looking for something cool and different to do. And a lot of times you come up with new events and they're horrible. They fail. So you got to be careful with that too. But I think Ocean City, that's we're number one in everything. And I think that's one thing we can all agree we all do really well with.
When you have a brand, you just want to remind people constantly about your brand. It's not bad to repeat. I know you guys think I repeat too much, but sometimes it's not bad to repeat when it comes to Ocean City, New Jersey, our greatest family resort. And why do people come here? Well, the number one reason is how safe we are, and we have to continue to communicate that. We've actually, polled this, and the number two reason is to create memories, and I think this is a very collaborative answer with all of us, because we're all basically saying the same thing. We have to have activities that people will, one, know they're safe, and that's easy because they will be, but two, that they'll be entertained from grandmom, grandpop, all the way down to the grandkids and the kids. But that's why I keep going back to this Fifth Street lot in that area. It screams for activity. It's screaming like, yo, I'm here, because you have that lot. It's not full. You have that bathroom. People can come in and get to an activity and do an activity. And I think these guys are suggesting activities that work quite nicely there, as I would too. And they're not going to turn around and go back home. They're going to want that slice of pizza. They're going to want that ice cream. They're going to see Playland. They want to go down there. We've just got to get people here. When we do, we got to keep them busy and active. And I think this is something we all agree on. And there's a lot of great ideas, and we just have to go and do and implement them.
Mayor, you have filed for personal bankruptcy. During your reelection announcement, you confronted that issue head-on by saying that personal bankruptcy, quote, has nothing to do with my public service, unquote. However, criticism continues to swirl on social media, questioning how someone, as mayor, could oversee the city's finances while struggling with his own finances. Could all of you address this issue? Should it be a campaign issue and a legitimate concern of the voters? Mayor, we start with you.
I mean, I did head this head on. And, you know, it's amazing. One has nothing to do with the other. And I wouldn't be on the Shore Medical Center board if they had a question. Our AA bond ratings, everything that we hear has been successful in the city. And didn't just happen. This has been going on for a while. And that's what a family business does. But the one thing out of all this, which really humbled me, is the phone calls I got with people calling me, say, I've been through it, I'm going through it, or I'm getting ready for it. And thank me for just heading it on and coming out, because social media is horrible in a lot of ways. And it's one of the things I didn't want to get too much on a soapbox, but you have no idea what goes in someone's life. And the one thing, being a public, official, the mayor, the council, all that kind of stuff, it's amazing how many people will take something and turn it into facts when it's not. And anytime anybody wants to come up and talk to me about it, but at the end of the day, it's a process. It's a pause. It gets me and my family back on our feet again. And the thing about it is, it's a shame because people don't really understand it, and they think, oh my God, how can you do it? You can do it. And that's what's so great with the government, all that kind of stuff. You have plenty of people, and they're professionals in there, and it's a shame that it gets vilified so much because so many people are having tough times right now, especially in small businesses. So to me, I am not ashamed of it. I don't run from it. And believe me, it gives me something that these guys don't have either, because now I understand it. I know what a fixed budget is. I know what income. So to me, it's been a whole new world for me and my family. But it also makes me a better mayor because I understand people that have it, don't have it, are struggling. So to me, it's been probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
I haven't made a campaign issue out of it, nor will I. I think this campaign, and you can see it tonight, is just about ideas, what ideas we each have to move the city forward. We're all concentrating on that, and I'm proud of that, Mayor. I'm proud that that's the three of us are doing that up here. This is a positive moment and a positive campaign, and positive things are being said, and that's how we should be. That's how we should be. I moved down here with nothing, and thank you. Well, you reminded me I had extra time, Mayor. I'm really surprised by that. We're being so cordial up here, we're probably going to go out to dinner afterwards. But in all seriousness, I came down here with nothing, and this town afforded me a lot of opportunity, a ton of opportunity. Opportunity I never would have got. I am the luckiest person in the world for coming here. And when I lost last time in the election, I even wrote a book about it. So I'm just so fortunate, and I praise God every day that I ended up here, and that I'm so proud to be a part of this town. And I know that we all feel that way. And that's what's important, and then that's what we're reflecting here today and tonight.
So to me, we're all here to discuss what we can control, not what we can't. Keith and I can't control what happens with Jay. Jay and Keith can't control what happens with me. So I'm here to explain why I believe I'm the best choice for mayor. So no, I don't think it's relevant.
Mr. Hartzell, you have repeatedly called for the city to build a community playground on the beach between 5th Street and 6th Street to create another attraction in town for children and families. You have even gone as far as offering to donate vacant land that you own to the city to help pay for the playground. Do all of you agree that a playground is even needed at that location, and why hasn't this project moved forward?
Well, you know, at this point, I don't think I've gotten all the support that I wanted on that, and I think that we should look at more opportunities, as many as we can. So that's one opportunity that could happen. But to sit and bank it all on that opportunity, I don't think that that's the right thing to do. I think there's a lot of other things we can do in that area that would be lesser money to start. Even though the playground wouldn't cost anything, I look back on it now and talking to people about it and getting information and say, you know what, let's crawl before we walk. So that's the beauty of going out and going door to door to talk to people. We talked about it earlier. These people are great in this town. They'll talk to you. If they don't want to talk to you, they're pretty nice about it. They get rid of you kind of cool, you know. But, you know, you get a lot of good feedback. So I think no matter who gets in, our community service department is second to none in the leadership of Dan Kelchner. And I know if I gave him a budget, I'm going to say he's going to do something great. And I think that's where I would lean right now and see where we go and then inch it along some other things. So it always doesn't come down to one idea. It comes down to multiple ideas and an open mind to accept criticism on your idea and move along and get a better idea going. So that's what I'm for.
I think the inception of the playground idea came from helping the Boardwalk in the north end of the Boardwalk. And the key is that we're trying to work with the Boardwalk merchants to bring activity down to that end of the Boardwalk. So first step is listening to them. What do they want? I'm a big advocate of I'd love to try 10 ideas. I'm okay failing on 3 or 4 because you learn from them. But doing 10 things and trying to get those, you're learning that process through that process. This one didn't work, and it's okay, and it didn't get legs. But another idea is, and it's about getting ideas, working with them, experimenting to see what's best for Ocean City and what's going to help best bring activity down that end of the Boardwalk until we build a hotel.
That's my bad ear. I couldn't really hear him. You know, I can only speak from being there. You know, I'm 61, so you figure about 50 years I've been down there. And that end of the Boardwalk has been going down, and not going down, but it's a different. You know, when we first came here, there was no air conditioners, there was no kitchen, there was no, whatever, no TV, cable, and all that kind of stuff. So the end of the day is it's just different. And from 6th Street to 14th Street, it's a big boardwalk. I know when they widened from 12th to 14th Street, I could see when people stopped coming left and going down to the boardwalk. But to me again, that's to say, it's working together and figure out what works. I was a little skeptical about being there my whole life, and in case the storms came and washed it away. But we did everything we did our due diligence to see if something like that would work. But to me, again, it's a community thing. You got to talk to the neighbors to see what they want to do. But like he said, it's just you talk to the people and what do they really want. And I tell you, the community does tell you what they want. So yes, they do. So, but no, I think great things are going to happen at that end of the boardwalk, and I really can't wait to see them. As soon as this election's over, it'll start up.
Mr. Madden, one campaign idea that you have floated is to start a Jitney service to take Ocean City residents, particularly young adults, to the bars and nightclubs in Summers Point and Seattle City. Critics are questioning on social media whether the Jitney service would take business away from Ocean City and unnecessarily encourage young people to drink. Do any of you see any potential drawbacks to this idea, or is it a good plan overall?
I've taken some heat over that, but it's an idea, and again, I'm about bringing ideas out there. That Jitney works both ways. It brings people here that could come from Summers Point to Ocean City to take advantage of the boardwalk or the downtown. And it also helps our residents get off the island, potentially to go to Seattle or Summers Point. I'm not looking for a taxpayer-funded Jitney. What I'm looking for is to expand on the service that we have, and again, bring a different idea that has been brought up by the public to say, hey, it's a $200 Uber to get from Sea Isle back to Ocean City. Okay, well, maybe we can all work together, and maybe with the Jitney companies in Sea Isle, Ocean City, and we can have a free-flowing Jitney that goes back and forth from a standpoint of folks get on, they pay $20, $30. I don't know what it is. We have to look into all that. But again, it's an idea that I thought might help with the community. And shoot, I'd love to see a boat going across the water to Summers Point. And I think it's a great idea. I look at Disney. Disney's the example. Disney is the example of they have buses, they have boats, they have skyliners that get people from place to place. Why can't we do the same thing?
Again, that's why I was running for mayor, because he came to me about this 2 years ago, so he didn't get it. This is the man that if he doesn't get a yes, he just keeps on going. You know, it's funny, when I first heard it, we've talked about this. This is something we've talked about over the years, and we have a Jitney service in here, and I know years back, at one time, they wanted to take our downtown over to the place over in Atlantic City, and someone that's close to me got killed for that. And again, it all sounds good and all that kind of stuff, and transportation and all that. The one thing I was talking to somebody, you know, there's the 507, there's the buses that come in from Atlantic City, and they stop at Linwood, Northfield, and all that kind of stuff. So, Pete, we do have something hourly that comes in and out of Ocean City. But it's the ideas, and that's the sad part sometimes when you look at social media. I know it's funny, and I saw some of the pictures they made of Pete and that thing. Like, that's why we're laughing, and we all do get along. But to me, that's what's so difficult. You know, when you come up with ideas, and I learned this in my first term, you got to really vet it out first. You know, whether it's the playgrounds or the jitneys and all that kind of stuff, you have to figure it all out. So then when you bring it to the public, it's just like the hotel. We saw a drawing, and everybody lost their minds. That's not how you do it. You have to do your homework. That's what the administration does. We do all the facts. People said, oh, you don't make your mind up. No, I'm not coming to the taxpayers and the community until we know all the facts. And that's what you're supposed to do, so thank you.
I'm really not for taking people off the island. I'm a business guy. I want them here. You know, when it comes to safety and drinking and driving, you know, that's a whole nother issue of personal responsibility. And out of tragedy came the HERO campaign. And to me, you know, you have to learn early on in your life that there always should be a designated driver in the car. If that's the case, then people are going to be able to get back and forth to where they want to go if they want to have a couple drinks and enjoy themselves in another atmosphere, and they can come back, and it's not going to cost anything extra because a designated driver will get a soda or two, and they'll be able to drive home. So I'm more of the personal responsibility part of this, to be very honest with you.
Ocean City was founded by 4 Methodist ministers in 1879 as a dry town, meaning no alcohol sales are allowed. Restaurant customers aren't even allowed to bring a bottle of wine with them for dinner. A referendum that would have allowed BYOB service was shot down in 2012 by Ocean City voters by an overwhelming margin. Yet there are supper clubs in town that allow members to bring and consume their own wine. Do you feel that it is time to repeal the BYOB prohibition as a way to attract more customers to local restaurants, starting with the mayor?
With me? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't drink, so this is an easy one for me. I don't believe in it. I think we have some secret sauce here. But as the mayor, and again, I've said this too, and people think it's a cop-out, that's a community issue. That's a big issue. So before any of us come out and say, this is what we feel or our opinion, we need to get the facts and figure out what does the community want. And that's, you know, again, it keeps going, you know, it keeps getting shot down, but we do have the dinner clubs, you know, we do have different avenues to, you know, to handle that. But to me is, you know, I guess it's all about having good food. So if you have good food in the good restaurants, I mean, you know, they should do well. But it's one of those things that, you know, they ask you, what do you think all the time about that? But, you know, you've come to Ocean City. You know, it's why you go to different towns. When you come to Ocean City, you know what Ocean City is all about. So, you know, sometimes people come here, they move here, and they want to change things, which is cool. But I think when it comes to the drinking, I think that's what keeps us America's greatest family resort.
It's all about brand. And our brand is we're dry, and people like it that way because it's a family atmosphere. And Mark Seufer one time said to me when I was interviewing, he said, Keith, casinos might come and go, but families never will. And that's who we are. So when we look and we talk to families, and we've done this and we've polled this, we find that people like the fact that we don't have alcohol here. They just do. And our residents all moved here knowing that we don't have alcohol here. And they like it that way. So I don't think you change one of the most successful brands in America that way when you're doing so well. There's no, ask a couple beer companies, soda companies that changed branding at the wrong time, how well that did not work. I'm not risking our brand. It's going to stay dry until the overwhelming amount of people that live here decide that they would rather have it wet. I don't foresee that happening in my lifetime, but I believe in what we are and what our brand is. It's why I moved here. It's why it's in my heart, and that's why I'm here.
So every business looks for a niche, and what they can do differently, what they can do better than everyone else. Ocean City, the niche is it's a dry town. So I think that's important that we have that, we maintain that. And again, to Keith's point, if the temperature of the town changes, then we look at that and we listen and potentially go back out to a referendum. But right now, there's no need to. And the supper clubs, the dinner clubs, give a great option for people to join and be able to bring a bottle of wine to dinner. So I think without a doubt we stay as a dry town, and that's our niche.
Moving on to another precious commodity at the Jersey Shore, sand. It is needed almost every year to obviously replenish the eroded beaches in Ocean City and other towns. What would be your solution to guarantee enough funding for beach replenishment projects every year to avoid the funding shortages that were experienced at the shore in 2025? Mr. Hartzell.
Get very close to Congressman Van Drew. And I could speak for all of us up here, Congressman Van Drew, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, it does not matter. When it comes to these types of things, he's very helpful. And sometimes your political disagreements go away when you realize how important this is. And each and every one of us, that's what we're going to say. The other thing is, as I know in the Peru administration, we had to work with the state one time in order to get the beach going until we could get the federal funds. But it's on everybody's mind at all times that we need those federal funds. And when you look at it, we have to be steadfast in staying on that because it's not a guarantee. It has to come in the budget. And the other thing to do is I wish Wildwood would just send some of the sand back to us because all of it's down there. I think that's unfair, but I think we've always done a good job with that. It's foremost on our mind. It's why people come here. It's why it makes it a special place. And we would all be steadfast in doing that. I can tell you that right now.
We're a beach town, and the boardwalk on the beach is exactly why people come here. So it's imperative that we work with the federal, state, county, and local officials to be able to make sure that we're networking within that group, making sure that we have the money coming to us year after year. But also our community, what's great about Ocean City is we have some really highly successful people in our community. I think part of it is tapping into those folks to get ideas, potentially funding, and help to do that. So I want to talk to a lot of the community members, particularly the ones who have had experience dealing with federal government, and how can we better do our job, and we look to success, because success leaves clues on how to do that.
Again, I think it's been a successful thing, especially during our term here. We got island-wide tip-to-tip beach replenishment now. We're going to get one. Our congressman has done a great job. But it's not just for laying on there in your bathing suit on the towel. It's protection for our home. I mean, we have a lot of valuable homes here. And when Sandy hit, you could realize that because of all the dunes and all the things that we've done, and again, that's the other thing with social media. You take that one picture of a couple blocks that's bad, and it looks like the whole town's bad. But the South End's been doing really good because of our continued replenishment. So to me, when you work with the Army Corps and the DEP and the city, again, it's all about relationships. And we have great relationships here in Ocean City that we've fostered over the years. And you talk about creative funding, grants and all that kind of stuff. We're constantly working on that. And again, to be able to get $38 million from the federal government to mix in with our DEP and our county share, or for our city share, it's big money, and it's hard to get people to, other than the seashore towns, to put money in from the government. But I think Mr. Van Drew has got a program now that's going to be there every year, because they say it was a line item, and we don't have to fight about that. But at the end of the day is hopefully him and his colleagues can get together and put something that's going to be in there, because I know Ocean City is going to have the money, so we'll be ready for it. And we were ready for it. If we didn't get the beach replenished this year, we were going to truck it in and make it look beautiful.
Gentlemen, Ocean City has spent tens of millions of dollars on road construction, drainage projects, and stormwater pumping stations to relieve flooding on the island. What else can be done to protect homes and businesses from more flooding as sea levels continue to rise? Mr. Madden?
That's something we always have to look at. It's going to never end. We're on an island, and we've done a ton of work. Everybody feels it when you drive around town. You can't get anywhere on one straight street. So we need to continue to work on the flood mitigation. And there's ideas that are out there, and we need to tap into them. You know, one idea was put a bulkhead around the whole island. Is that feasible? Who knows? But if there's grant funding out there, and if there's ideas out there, we're going to look into them, and we're going to do our best to continually work on the flood mitigation, because we can't stop with that.
Okay, it's been one of our biggest successes. When we came in here a long time ago, it was about, flood mitigation, and we've been cutting edge. The one thing that people forget, about all that is all our pipes were 100 years old. Half the pipes were gone. So, I mean, to me is you get the DEP, they have this new real thing coming out, so there's so many different things. Everyone talks about houses getting higher and bigger. Well, that's because all the regulations are coming down from Trenton. But we've always been ahead of it. When Sandy came, we raised the houses higher. So to me, it's one of those things you're going to constantly do it. You really don't have a choice, and I think with the help of council, I think Ocean City has been in the forefront for that. We've gotten 2 awards with all the things that we've done, and again, we're going to continue to do it. We got a $5 million dredging grant to build up our islands in the back because we saw with all the energy that came in from Sandy, it just came right into that back bay there. So again, I think that's one thing we do excellent here is prepare ourselves for that.
It's a constant program that has to be done. And when I ran for office in 2006, I walked by a guy's house named Joe Newsom, who was the mayor of Marion Park at that time, and he was grading his yard up. So, me, not knowing all the conditions, said, "Oh, you got a flooding problem around here?" He said, "Sit down, son, sit down." And so I told him if I got elected, I'd bring my father back, who happened to be an expert in all this. And I did. And we formed a friendship and alliance of Joe Newsom, Paul Hartzell, Dr. Paul Hartzell, and Marty Mozo. And what we found out, and oddly enough, can you put a wall around us? Well, first off, a wall. But second of all, my father said you could bulkhead around, but it would be so much more money. My father was the first one to write a report on pumping. I didn't believe it. I said, I don't know how you can pump it. It doesn't come back, but it does. And as a group, all of us have been steadfast in doing that, voting for that, working together, getting the right contractors in. One of the things that my father taught me to do is to make sure you have neighborhood meetings, because he said as an engineer, you talk to the neighbors first. They'll tell you stuff you never could figure out. We've had great involvement, and we have to keep going.
With the summer tourism season approaching, shore towns are preparing for big crowds and the possibility of crime caused by troublemaking teenagers. This is a problem that a number of shore towns have experienced in recent summers to one degree or another, even at Ocean City. The city has responded by closing the beach at 8 p.m., closing the Boardwalk bathrooms at 10 p.m., and enacting an 11 p.m. curfew on those under 18. Beyond those measures, what is your strategy for keeping groups of rowdy teens or young adults from disrupting the summer tourism season? Starting with the mayor.
We've been handling that. And, it's, some of the Boardwalk merchants are thinking about, do we put the curfew later? But, again, I can't help myself, but that's social media at its worst. We have some unruly kids, but normally it's pretty good. I mean, kids are going to be kids. But we have the best. We work with our Attorney General, we work with our prosecutor. So we're constantly, we have the best police department. We've added police officers, our Boardwalk patrol. But it's not just on the Boardwalk, it's island-wide. And when you have 8 miles that you have to take care of, first thing you have to do is you have to have the best police department. And we have that. So to me, is we just keep on working with what we can do. I mean, when Trenton sends stuff down and lets people get away with murder sometimes, and that's probably a bad thing, but gets away with things, that's, it's very difficult. We meet our county leader down there, got us all together, and with all the mayors, and we meet quarterly and we talk about it. But I got to tell you something, we're very, very lucky in Ocean City because, again, with our police force, and we tell them, we don't put up with it. And again, we've actually, really what stopped it is we had parents, we were letting them go with just brothers and sisters, and we had a family that lived up in Connecticut, and we called them up and they had to come down and pick their son up. So I'm going to tell you something, the parents are the best the best remedies for a lot of the kids. But I think we do a great job, and we're always prepared for what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, our boardwalk is safe. It's spectacular, and it's that one social media thing. You see that one blurb, and it can be anywhere, and everybody thinks it's going to hell.
So when I retired, I decided I would work up at Chili's because I always wanted to work on the boardwalk. I never got an opportunity. The mayor came down and visited me a couple of times, say, "You're learning a few things, aren't you?" I say, "Yeah, pretty much." But I'm going to tell you one of the proudest moments I've ever had. When we had problems up in that boardwalk and I saw Chief Campbell at 11:30 at night, 12 at night, walk down that boardwalk boldly in front of everyone, in front of all his men. He was part of them. He took care of the situation. So after seeing that, I have full trust in him. I've known him a long time. And when you see that kind of leadership, you say, thank God we're not going to have a problem. We've got the right guy in place. And I think that's something that we all agree on up here.
So I think it starts from the mayor's office in being proactive, understanding what teens are doing, where they're gathering, why they're gathering, and then working with the police department. They're the first line of defense. We have to talk to them, listen to them, find out the cause and effect. If we close the boardwalk and the beach at 8 o'clock, what's the effect? If we open it up till 9 o'clock, what do you think is going to happen? So we need to continually work with the people who are actually doing and executing the job so that everything's being handled correctly. But right now we're in great shape, and it's because of the police department, it's because of the way the city's handle it. We'll continue to do that.
Now we've reached that point in the evening for closing statements. We'll start with Mr. Hartzell.
Thank you very much. This has been a very enjoyable evening, I think, for us three up here to run with ideas, not personal attacks, and for every one of you to learn what we're all about. When I get into the mayor's office, what I'm going to bring is vision. That is seeing things before they actually happen, and that's happened to us. We're divided on some issues right now. And what you need to do when you're divided is you need to recognize the problem, and in recognizing that problem, you need to seek solutions that will bring compromise and consensus. The key to moving forward is to allow the entire community to be involved and their voices to be heard. I'm committed to real solutions, of two of which is Wonderland and parking. We've talked about those and about the things that I'm looking at and I'm willing to do and I want to do. All solutions should be built in collaboration and community interaction that leads to compromise and consensus. I will bring leadership and vision to make Ocean City even better. I respectfully ask for your vote on or before May 12th. Thank you so much for this enjoyable night. Sincerely appreciate it.
All right, so before we leave here tonight, I want you to do something simple. Take a moment to look to the person sitting next to you, to your left and to your right. You may not know their story. You may not share their background, their experiences, or their perspective. But for this moment, you are all here together. That's what Ocean City creates. It's not about one decision. It's not about Wonderland. It's not about parking. It's about what we build together. A place where families make memories, where businesses grow, where neighbors look out for one another, and where every generation belongs. And when we think about the future of that place, you realize it isn't about one single issue. It's about a job and the responsibility that comes with it. I began tonight talking about what that job requires, and now I'm asking you to entrust me with it. Thank you.
I want to start by thanking these two guys, and as everybody can see, we all work together, and we always have worked together, and we do believe in what's best for Ocean City, but this really is going to come down to experience and leadership. So I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight and to the residents of Ocean City. This election comes down to a simple choice: steady, experienced leadership or uncertainty. Over the past years, we've worked together to keep Ocean City safe, clean, and family-friendly. We've made smart investments, we've strengthened our neighborhood, and we've protected the character of our town that we love. Our opponents, this administration has changed Ocean City for the better. We have replenished our beaches, we've rebuilt our boardwalk, we've dredged our bay, we've fixed our flooded streets, we've taken care of our seniors, our veterans, and our children. Our work is not done, and we will continue to change. Change is not about pushing out experience, but replacing with instability. That's a risk Ocean City cannot afford. You don't gamble with people who keep the city safe and your streets maintained and your services reliable. So I'm proud of what we have accomplished. I'm asking you for your support on May 12th so we can move forward, and I want to thank everybody for coming tonight.
Our thanks to the candidates, Mayor Jay Gillian, 2nd Ward Councilman Keith Hartzell, City Council Vice President Pete Madden for their participation in tonight's debate. A round of applause for all three, please. Please remember to make a plan to get out and vote on Tuesday, May 12th. Polls open at 6 a.m. They remain open until 8 p.m. Our thanks to all of you for your respect, your attention, your cooperation in making tonight's event possible. On behalf of Donald, Linda, and the Federi News Network, thank you and good night.